I'm Rebecca Jarvis for ABC News in New York, and today the ride-sharing service Lyft announced a novel new measure. They're offering users the opportunity to ditch their cars in exchange for Lyft credits and credits to use public transportation. Would you give up your car keys in exchange for that? Well, I sat down with Lyft co-founder and President John Zimmer to discuss. You're going to pay people not to drive their own cars.
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
So if you zoom out, the transportation system that we have in this country, we believe is broken. It costs the average American over $10,000 a year to own and operate their car. And there's not a great option or an alternative that provides all your transportation needs. So Ditch Your Car initiative is going to about 2,000 people. They're going to apply across 35 cities in the United States. We've formed partnership with public transit agencies to offer public transit credits, bike credits, and Lyft credits, as well as Zipcar. We're also going to send them a lockbox, so you can take your car keys, put them in that lockbox for a month, and use the credits that will fully replace the costs you had of your car. And we're going to see at the end of it how people feel. Do they want to stay on that path? Do they want to go back to their car? And so there's a big opportunity, I think, to help people make that mental shift away from what they've been doing for a really long time. And that's the idea here.
How many people do you think will ultimately ditch their car?
So actually last year, 250,000 Lyft users got rid of one of their vehicles. So this year I would expect that number is higher because we've grown our business. And we've grown the number of options that people can choose.
You, as well as Uber, are in a place right now where you're not young companies anymore, and the roads are crowded. What is your vision 5 years from now? How different is commute time going to be? How different is the user experience out on the roads going to look?
Our vision is that you subscribe to a Lyft plan in a similar way that you would get a minutes plan on your phone. And that plan is more affordable than the $10,000 you pay to own and operate a car every year. So let's say the average American household will save thousands of dollars. You'll have alternatives like public transit, like bikes and scooters, as well as Lyft rides. And that'll be the main way people get around. This idea of getting car keys on your 16th birthday, I think is going to change.
That's going to make some people sad, John.
Why is that?
I had fun when I got car keys on my 16th birthday.
Yeah.
I didn't get a car,
yeah, not
but
everyone...
I looked forward to that. It was an important part of growing up.
I think that's fair, and I think that what the car has represented for America is this idea of freedom. Freedom to move, freedom to get where I want to go, freedom to be with my friends. But I would argue that the reality of what the car has delivered or is delivering now is what you said. It's traffic, it's expensive, not everyone can afford it. And so for those that it makes sense for, we want to provide that alternative. And to me, that is the ability to deliver true transportation freedom at a lower cost that is more enjoyable. And a lot of people are spending times on their phones. There's a safety component here too. As more distracted driving is happening, having people with safe alternatives is a great option.
Do you see fewer Lyft cars on the road? Do you see some of those drivers ditching their cars?
So we've made car ownership optional actually for both the driver and passenger. We have a rental program. So some drivers can't afford a car, but they need a job opportunity. So we've created a rental program. But there will be cars on the road. I'm not saying that cars are horrible in all instances. I'm just saying that it's not the only way. And owning a car, when you use it only 4% of the time, just doesn't make sense. And so we need to provide people with more options. We need to build our cities around people and not cars. And I think that if you look at the majority of miles, 95% of it is people driving alone. Yes, that can be enjoyable in some moments, but I think the majority of the reason why this is happening is because it's the most convenient way to get around, it's the most reliable way to around, and we're going to change that.
You just hit 1 billion rides with Lyft, 6 years into the business. Uber in July hit 10 billion rides. They've been around a little longer than you, but not that much. Why do you think it is they got such faster growth than you?
So yeah, as you said, they started before us, but we're growing much faster than them. In some cases, we've reported that we're growing twice as fast as them. We're taking market share. And it's because we're investing in the customer, in the people behind our business. And we'll see where things are in another year or two.
There's also been a lot of talk about driverless cars. Are we going to see a world 5 years from now where people are not behind the wheel of the cars on the road?
I believe it's part of the solution. Just as I said, bikes, Lyft rides, public transit, autonomous vehicles, it's part of a way of giving people an alternative to what is now a $10,000 a year problem. And so, yes, in 5 years you will see autonomous vehicles in major US cities. Absolutely.
People aren't driving their cars down the road.
Not everyone, but yes, in a significant way in major US cities, I believe so.
How about flying cars?
I call those helicopters, and I'm not, we're focused on ground transportation right now.
So Lyft isn't interested in playing the Uber game of getting into flying taxis?
Not right now. I think as that technology develops and advances and is safe, if that's what our customers want, then we're going to offer that as one alternative. We want Lyft to be that place you come to trust that you'll get a safe ride, a reliable ride, and a ride at the lowest cost. If there are other ways of getting you from point A to B, we'll look at it. But right now, we're staying on the ground.
You've talked about the bike business, the scooter business, both areas that Lyft has gotten into. How far away are we from seeing in the United States cities that have more scooters on the road than cars?
I'd focus maybe on bikes. Bikes have been around for a lot longer. I think scooters is new. We're launching cities with scooters. We're excited about it. But let's say bikes and scooters. I'd say we're several years off from that. And one of the problems is that we haven't built infrastructure for bikes. We've built infrastructure for cars. 60% of major cities like LA, New York, they're paved over with roads and parking spots. And then you try to ride a bike in these cities, and there's often not a protected bike lane. And that's not fair, that's not right. We need to design cities that create safe places for bicyclists, for pedestrians, and for drivers, and not put them all in the same place. And so that's what I'm excited about. When we provide these alternatives and work with cities, we can redesign them around people living in it instead of the cars parked in them.
We've seen a lot of CEOs weigh in on political conversations recently. What do you think the role of the CEO is right now in the United States? Should people in a role like yours be entering into the political debate?
I don't think a role as a leader in a company is to be political, but I do think standing up for values is important. As an American citizen, as someone who has impact on the people we serve, at times we have to speak out. And I think that in today's times, there are moments where that is appropriate.
Do you want to be a public company?
Eventually. It's not the goal of life as a business. It's a step on the journey. What we want to do is make our cities better places to live in. It's the most important hospitality experience. We want to do is save people money. We want to do is bring people together to have, a Democrat and Republican sitting in a car for 10 minutes, meeting someone from a different background. That's what we want to do. And part of that is building a large business so that we can impact the most people. One of the steps along the way may be going public, but it's not the end-all be-all for us.
How far away are you from going public?
Don't have any information to share on that.
Uber told me they might be public by this time next year. Would that create any fire for you?
No, we're going to do what's right for Lyft, and we're going to go public at the time that we're ready to.
But it's something that is on the horizon eventually.
It's something that we think will happen one day.
I'm Rebecca Jarvis in New York, and you're watching ABC News Live.